Travis Hunter looks amazing during rookie mini camps. What does that mean for his dynasty value? We'll get to that next.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Here are your hosts, Marcus Mosher and Kate Madjuk.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. Joining me today is a special guest. It's Bruce Matson from Dynasty League Football. You can follow him over on Twitter at Metric Scout. And Bruce, we're going to do some wild, reckless speculation with rookie mini camps going on over the weekend. And I thought we could start with Travis Hunter. So again, we're operating with almost no information, no evidence. We're just seeing a couple of clips that are being posted on social media. Having said all that, what'd you think of Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter coming out of rookie minicamp. Like one of the few rookies that come out for a rookie minicamp that we've ever seen come out with like a standing ovation, like a big pop, like a professional wrestler. Like it's mainly beat writers there watching, and they just stopped what they were doing and clapping. And we saw him in drills. And the clips keep coming out because they're getting delayed on releases by some of these beat writers. But he's looking very smooth, polished on the route running, light on the feet, looking very solid. But another thing, too, you see him dancing between plays, dancing between sets. One take I had was no gloves. No gloves, Marcus, compared to everybody else. And so he's very confident in his hands, being able to rack those in. And then you look at this depth charts. We got excited as a low-key pickup of Dylan Brown, and now they bring in Travis Hunter for the offense. Travis Hunter, short to intermediate. We had Parker Washington last year getting his opportunity, stunk up the joint, and we got Brian Thomas Jr. taking the deep ball out. So now we got another top flight wide receiver coming in, a top draft pick. So Jacksonville, with Trevor Lawrence there, and them pushing the ball downfield more, getting a deeper average depth of target to these wide receivers compared to the years past, we might have something here with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, that was my takeaway as well. I'm watching these videos, and you can tell, like, Travis Hunter doesn't quite know how to run precise routes, and you can tell that he's pretty raw, but he is just such a freak athletically. Like, he's going to figure it out. And honestly, Bruce, the thing that I like the most is that he was basically working at wide receiver exclusively. Liam Cohen said they are going to mix him in on defense in some of the upcoming mini camps and OTAs. But the key word is mix him in on defense. It's pretty clear he's going to be a full-time receiver. And one of the things I think is fascinating, if you go over to Dynasty League Football right now and you look at the ADP, and Travis Hunter, the ADP's gone up. He's wide receiver 23. But he was a clear-cut wide receiver 1 in this class. And if he's going to be playing primarily all of the snaps on offense, he is a screaming value at wide receiver 23. So here is my reckless takeaway coming out of rookie minicamp. I want your thoughts. Travis Hunter, top 15 receiver already in Dynasty Leagues.
In Dynasty Leagues, I think value-wise, speculating that right now, I expect the needle to move up on him. I mean, top flight draft capital already. They traded up to get him. There's no gatekeepers on this offense to really battle him in training camp. You just look at this depth chart behind Brian Thomas Jr. You got Dylan Brown, Joshua Cephas, Parker Washington. It is open. It is open for the taking for, even he's second line targets, it's open for a 20% target share. It's open to push for that year one. And it could be more than that. And they're looking for more than that because they wanted more than that last year and they weren't getting that. And they have to
Bruce,
make a change.
Let me ask you this. Like, I'm looking at the ADP right now. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 14, who I really like. I really, really like Garrett Wilson. But would you rather be the number 1 receiver catching passes from Justin Fields in New York, or the number 2-ish, I'm going to say ish, receiver, catching passes from Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Because to me, especially when you consider the age, Hunter's 3 years younger, I would just rather have Travis Hunter straight up.
Yeah, I think too, you look at the market with that, you're going to see a big bounce up with market capital with him. And then on top of that, yeah, you get Trevor Lawrence with him. You got long-term good quarterback play. You do not know what the Jets are going to be looking at in 2026. You don't know what you're going to be getting out of Fields. Fields did well with DJ Moore with the Bears, but still, you can look at Garrett Wilson as a guy that's going to be a good wide receiver in the NFL, but you can also say, we already got the story cut that he's not going to be the next Justin Jefferson either.
No.
We definitely know that's not in the cards. So we definitely know what he is. You know what you're getting, but you definitely know that you're not going to get your Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He's probably just going to be a good wide receiver, where you got that chance here with a Travis Hunter. You got that chance at least. You might have some FOMO going into July thinking about that, and that FOMO might burn you up a bit. When you know you just got a good wide receiver for the next 5 to 10 years, might get you a few wide receiver 1 seasons, but you also got this FOMO. This guy might excel really well in this offense.
Doesn't it feel like this is one of these situations where every time we get a clip of him catching passes, from the Jags social media account, the ADP is just going to continue to go up and up and up, because he's such a fun and such a unique player that I think just this is kind of like the dynasty psychology here, that managers are just going to want him on their dynasty teams because they're going to want to root for him. I think now is the time to buy, because that price isn't getting any cheaper anytime soon.
Oh, definitely. If you can even do it, if I had him, I would be trying to hold people over a barrel. So I'd be trying to get tomorrow's price out of them. That's what I'd be doing. So you will have to be strategic.
Yes. So there you go. That's my reckless speculation and takeaways from rookie minicamp, is that Travis Hunter is really good. I know that's not really a takeaway, but I do think what we've seen already, the signs are great for Travis Hunter. Bruce, let's dive into the quarterback controversy that everybody has a take on social media. Dillon, Gabriel, Shedeur, Sanders. We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It's easy to lose track, but that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, all of your spending in one place, so you can stop managing your money and start building your wealth. I started using Monarch Money 4 or 5 months ago, and I realized how much money I was wasting on food delivery, coffee runs, buying more football cards. But now I am budgeting smarter and I am saving more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. We are here with Bruce Matson, the metric scout from Twitter, over on YouTube. He's got a fantastic channel. Make sure you go check it out. Now, Bruce, you've been doing a lot of videos on the Dillon Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders rookie minicamp battle. It's not really a battle yet, but it's fun to watch these videos, and you've scoured the internet for all of these videos. What's your reckless takeaway from watching all of these throws?
Watching both these two quarterbacks, I think I've watched all the throws that they made these last couple of days. Both of them has been looking good in rookie camp between Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Gabriel had 2 picks on day 2 of practice, a couple balls swatted down. Shedeur Sanders has actually been pretty much money. He had a couple clips where he was drifting a little bit more in the pocket from what we saw back from watching the film back at Colorado. He had a couple of those when he wasn't really contested much in the pocket, but outside of that, I mean, it's rookie camp. It's pitch and catch pretty much out there, and nothing really heavily installed when it comes to finer nuance of the offensive systems. But right now, with it being the start of things, both of them are looking good. I think Shedeur Sanders right now, between the two, is winning the battle, but I think a lot of people are underestimating Dillon Gabriel a little bit, but he's more of like a quality backup, developmental backup type of prospect. I don't think he was meant to really be thrusted into a limelight like this where it's rookie camp and we're just letting the beat writers just take footage of every single rep, where we're scrounging for like 1 or 2 reps of like top first round picks. But that's something to look at there. But right now, rookie camp, as we're going to approach the OTAs and minicamp here soon, both these two quarterbacks are looking solid with a depth chart that's very ambiguous coming up.
So I like Dylan Gabriel. I'm a big Oklahoma Sooners fan, so I was bummed when he went to Oregon. But I've always thought that Gabriel is like a Case Keenum type of quarterback, where high end backup. He can get you through some games, and we saw Kevin Stefanski actually have some success with Case Keenum as a starter. So I'm not surprised that Gabriel ended up in a Kevin Stefanski offense where it's a lot of rollouts, a lot of play action, a lot of short throws, because I think he can be accurate there. But I am surprised, or I'm not surprised, that Shedeur Sanders looks better in these type of drills and when it's no pads, because he's got the better arm. I think he's more accurate, which is crazy because we were knocking Shedeur's arm strength kind of coming into the draft. But I think this situation sets up well for Shadur to look really, really good. And I'm not surprised that we've seen a lot of clips from him looking pretty solid. I think I've got to assume this is going to continue all off season long.
Oh, yeah. The big thing here is you got a gatekeeper here. Like, I like to look for gatekeepers, like looking at the Denver Broncos last year with Bo Nix. They had a bunch of gatekeeper quarterbacks. So if you beat out the gatekeeper quarterbacks in training camp, and especially those joint practices, that's a good sign of you moving forward. And you got Kenny Pickett, like the ultimate gatekeeper quarterback for both these two guys. Like, if you guys just start surpassing him in camp, start making him look bad, then you're going to be moving up. You're going to be a serious, at least backup on the team. And then you got Joe Flacco, which on this team is still very ambiguous, but he's had his moments these last few years. He can run an offense, but also father time's father time. And you're also, if you're exceeding expectations in training camp, that could be a good look. And between these two quarterbacks, they've been looking good right now in camp, but things are about to get more technical because rookie camp is like new hire orientation for these rookies. They're learning the HR process for Cleveland, the NFL. They're learning their coaches' names. The coaches are learning their names. They're trying to figure out what's under the hood with these players. Fine-tuned basics installed. Camps against just rookies, mainly tryout guys too. So there's going to be a big change once we get the vets moved in there. But right now, things are looking good. Shedeur Sanders got opportunity this training camp. And the big thing to watch is him and Kenny Pickett, and Gabriel versus Kenny Pickett. Because if Sanders can't beat out Pickett, then the NFL was probably right. Yeah. But if he lights it up against Pickett, stuffs his face in training camp, beats him out every day, and makes it look bad, then you got a considerable contender when we get into preseason games and joint practices.
The only thing I want to say before we move on is that we saw Dillon Gabriel take all of the snaps ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Now, Kevin Stefanski did say, hey, it's like day one of rookie minicamp, but they're going to be fine. Like, they're going to get snaps. And that should be surprising that Gabriel's getting more snaps right now. He was the 3rd round pick where Shedeur Sanders was the 5th round pick. But if that continues over the course of the summer and we get into late July and August once camp opens up and Shedeur is the 3rd or 4th quarterback in the pecking order, it's going to be really hard for him to make a move. So I think he's still a little bit overvalued in dynasty leagues right now, but that can flip really quickly with a couple good weeks in camp. I wanted to ask you about another player. Now, this is a personal favorite of mine, so it's partly the reason why I'm bringing him up. Luther Burton, who, according to all reports at a camp, has been fantastic, even though he's rocking that awful number 87 uniform. He said all the good numbers were taken, but playing only out of the slot in Chicago's offense, and I guess he's been awesome. So should I start moving Luther Burton up my dynasty rankings because I think I'm already there?
I think when I look at him, the interviews is what's really selling me because the Bears are being very quiet with their clips. but everything's been looking good in the highlights, but it's very limited. It's the interviews, and he's kind of got that Amon-Ra aura with him where he's taking down the names of everybody who's passed him, working really hard on that. When he got surpassed and not go in the first round that night, he ran routes at Missouri. And it seems like, and we know this, he's got that dog in him. He's got that dog in route running too. He's very assertive. If you look at that highlight package of routes ran in practice at Missouri that leaked right before the draft, that's the one thing you can really know, that he's very assertive getting in and out of his breaks and very assertive at the catch points just from that and just from watching him play over time. This is just his mentality. He's just a guy that's just not going to accept like being second fiddle.
No.
And now you got an ascending quarterback. You upgraded the offensive line. You made a bunch of upgrades to this team, upgraded the coaching staff. Like, there's no reason for things to run bad unless something really nukes this team or something really does bad happen, because everything's trending up so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a perfect fit. One of the things that Kate Majuk and I have talked about all offseason long is that we were hoping that Luther Burton would get into a situation where he can be a full-time slot receiver. And basically, we were comparing him to Amon-Ra St. Brown, somebody who is tough, can make plays after the catch, landing with Ben Johnson and being a full-time slot receiver because you have Rome Odunze, you have DJ Moore, Colston Loveland's are now on the roster. This just makes perfect sense. And the fact that he's already making plays in rookie mini camps and like the team is one of the things you can tell is like when the teammates start raving about a player, like right away, because these players know, like they know the guys that are good and the guys that are bad. It just takes one practice to see like, hey, Luther Burton, that guy moves differently than any receiver I've seen in my life. I'm all in on Luther Burton. I actually took him in late round 1 of a rookie draft that I'm doing right now, and I feel great about it, Bruce. Great.
I think that's a great move.
All right, let's talk about some running backs. We haven't got to talk about the running backs too much, but RJ Harvey, maybe a surprising second-round pick by the Broncos, is already making noise in Denver. We will get to him next. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL Scouting Show. The NFL draft is over, but the roster moves in the news never stops. Hosts Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino will make you the most informed NFL fan this offseason. Find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. All right, we are back here with Bruce Matson on Twitter at Metric Scout, with some reckless takeaways coming out of rookie mini camps. Again, we only see a couple of clips, so don't judge us too much on these, but we're excited about some of these guys. Let's talk about RJ Harvey, who the Broncos selected in the second round. We knew they needed a running back. What are your takeaways from RJ Harvey so far?
The first thing I noticed from rookie minicamp is he's quad city. Those legs are blown up. He's a thick boy. He's very stout, compact, and it's different once you get in that NFL uniform. You get those close-up clips. Like, you can watch tape all day, but once you, like, even like at the combine and stuff, they're in loose, baggy clothing and everything. And you got to see the quads. He let them hang out. He's a thick, compact runner, but the feet in the drills, because they actually showed some good clips of him, very light, moves laterally very well, very agile. And then you go off of what he was saying in the interviews, saying that, hey, sitting down watching film with Sean Payton, and they're going over the previous Sean Payton running backs, saying he wants to be better than this guy, he wants to be better than Alvin Kamara, he wants to be this, saying all the right things, all jacked up and jazzed up about that. And then you see the twitchiness, the suddenness, and the size in camp. And you look at what this Broncos running back depth chart did last year. You look at the running backs on the roster. You look at the Jaguars. The Jaguars wanted him really bad, and Peyton knew he had to pull that trigger on him. So there was a market for him. It wasn't like, yeah, this is our guy. This is the guy we're going. There was a market, and they had to make that move. They couldn't like play the ADP game like we do in our dynasty leagues. They had to really make that move and make that investment to get that guy they wanted. RJ Harvey, though, Sean Payton had a lot of good things to say after the NFL draft as well, how they loved his tape, how he had to stay quiet, keep his traps shut, not mention him at all. And now we come to rookie minicamp. He only had a couple clips and he blew up Twitter just with his quads and he didn't have to run.
Yeah. So Sean Payton on Saturday, I believe, was talking about how he's already installed like new things to make sure RJ Harvey is involved in the passing game. And that's like music to our ears, right? Like, hey, they're going to be using RJ Harvey on the screen game, the dump off game. One of the things we know about Sean Payton is he's fantastic at getting the running backs involved in the passing game. He did it with Reggie Bush. He did it with Pierre Thomas. You go on down a lot, Alvin Kamara, obviously. So he knows how to get these guys touches. And he was talking about how a lot of these running backs coming out of college aren't prepared to be a passing game running back right away. But he thinks RJ Harvey has it. And he's been so advanced that they're trying to figure out some new ways to get him the football. Like, this is everything we would want to hear from a guy drafted in the second round. This Broncos backfield has been tough to figure out under Sean Payton because he's rotated so many guys, but I get the feeling that Sean Payton is kind of tired of this running back by committee, and he wants his guy, and his guy's RJ Harvey. And he's gonna want to make sure that RJ Harvey looks good, just like he did with Bo Nix last year. Set him up for success so he can show everybody that he's the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him; he'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you're looking at what Bo Nix does and how that complements Harvey. Bo Nix plays for the next down. He's very conservative with his approach, and he's not going to take risky shots downfield, and he'll hit that outlet. And RJ Harvey's going to be right there in the flat. And that's something Bo Nix needs himself, is just a reliable guy that can get you yards after the catch per reception, can get you those chunk yards in the open field as he dumps it off, because he's not going to take those unnecessary risks downfield. He's going to look to the short to intermediate. He's going to look at that tight end, that short wide receiver, or the short A-dot, that running back in the outlet. If things ain't there downfield, he ain't going to push it if it's too tight. And he does that. We saw that at Oregon. We saw that last year. We saw that in training camp last year. That's a good fit, and that's also a good fit for AJ Harvey's PPR upside, because that means targets his way. It's not like you're going to have a quarterback there that goes, no, I'm just going to yellow it downfield and keep pushing it. Like, it's going to adapt to that Sean Payton system even. It's just going to marinate together.
Last running back take before we head out. I think the Browns love Dylan Sampson, like love him. Because, they drafted Quinshon Judkins in round 2, at the top of round 2. We know that he's going to have a big role in this offense. But I was listening to Andrew Berry talk about Nick Chubb, and I got the quote right here, but he said, we'd like to see how the roles are going to shake out in the running back room with Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson. And then we think Jerome Ford is going to play a role as well. He talked about Nick Chubb, how he's completely healed. He's recovered from his broken foot. They feel good where he's at, but he said it's probably increasingly unlikely at this point that they bring back Chubb. To me, that's not because of Judkins, because we knew Judkins was going to have a big role. Because Sampson, a 4th-round pick, is already somebody that your GM is saying he's going to have a big role in the team, makes me think that he's looked awesome so far in minicamp.
Yeah, if you watch the clips, they look like the Bash Bros off the Mighty Ducks. Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, they're running drills together off the bad work, and then after it, they're high-fiving each other. Like, they're jazzing themselves up. I can definitely see this being a good shared backfield, and I think Judkins understands from Ole Miss that, hey, like, I can't keep being a battering ram with all these touches, and I liked what happened at Ohio State, sharing the backfield with Trevion Henderson. And we're looking at how ambiguous this quarterback situation is with Dylan Sampson there. Sampson was projected to be a 2nd-round pick anyways, fell in the draft to the 4th round, but really, when you think about it, he couldn't really work out that much. We're coming back from that injury, and we have a slew of good running backs. So it's like, well, I'm just going to draft this running back that I really know more about and move on about my day. That's probably what a lot of the GMs were looking at. But really, if he was healthy, he's probably going to be drafted higher in the 4th round. So the Browns thought they got a steal out of that in the 4th-round pick. So they were looking at, hey, we already drafted a running back, but he's here. We got to make this pick anyways. We got to do it anyways.
And I think I think NFL teams have just soured on this Tennessee offense. We saw,
Mhm.
I mean, the receivers, Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt fell a couple years ago. Even someone like Jalen Wright fell to the 4th round last year, despite having great speed. And then
Mhm.
this year, you see Dylan Sampson fall to the 4th round. So maybe it's just the NFL telling us, hey, Tennessee, we hate the offense that you run. We're just going to downgrade all of your players. But right now, over on Dynasty League Football, Sampson is RB10 in the latest batch of rookie ADP we have. You can get it. I can tell you this from experience. You can get Dylan Sampson in the 3rd round of your rookie
Mhm.
drafts. He was available to me at pick 307 this morning in a draft that I was doing. I think that's a steal. I mean, I think this is somebody who is going to have a big role on an offense that wants to run the football. And I know we think of Cleveland as a bad offense, and they are. I mean, they were the worst offense in the NFL last year. But Kevin Stefanski is really good at designing a run game. I kind of expect this run game to get back on track this year if they can get even adequate quarterback play. I think Dylan Sampson's a big time value.
I believe so too, because Dylan Sampson, a good prospect that really
Yeah.
just fell to him. They're going to use both running backs. It might not be like big time usage, but it's going to be usage enough where they're using both of them, and it's enough to get you some pop off weeks. It's enough to get you some upside week to week here and there. They're going to use them both. He'll probably get a little bit more in the passing game than what people may be thinking. And then you got Jerome Ford. He ain't going to be there too much longer. He ain't
No,
going
I
to be
wouldn't
there
be
for.
surprised if he's somebody that gets traded like during
Mhm.
camp before week 1, because I do think he's got value, but not as a RB3. I think Cleveland could recoup a day 3 pick for him.
Yeah, yeah, because a veteran that's had some promise, and especially when injuries start hitting in camp and
Mhm.
stuff, that's going to give them some openings. And Sampson's just going to look so much better, and they're going to
Yeah.
want to use them. They're going to want to have them implemented with, and the committee is just more prominent. Plus, teams are looking at what Tampa Bay did. We had some other coaches mention that, like Sean McVay, talking about what Tampa Bay did with Bucky Irving and
Well,
everybody else. They want to implement two
look
backs at the same time.
look what Cleveland did with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb when those guys were both, a little bit older into their career, but those guys were both startable every single week in our fantasy leagues. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, Chubb and Hunt are better players than what Judkins and Sampson are, but we've seen Kevin Stefanski lean into that kind of approach where together the guys are getting 32 touches. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if that's the case here.
Yeah, you can definitely at 3rd round pick though. That's a
I
cheap,
know.
cheap price
Cheap.
tag for the talent, and you can moneyball him with lineups. You're
Yep.
going to be able to moneyball him with lineups week to week. That's the thing. He's going to give you some lineup upside with this.
Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see
Hmm.
how that Browns backfield plays out. Can't wait to see what the Browns quarterback situation
Yeah.
turns out to be. The Browns are probably going to be like the number 1 team that we're watching all offseason long through mini camps, through OTAs, and then once we get to training camp and preseason, this should be a lot of fun to watch. You know what's also fun to watch? Bruce's YouTube channel. Make sure you go check that out. He's been doing a great job of covering all of the clips for mini camps. Go check out his work over on Dynasty League Football as well. Follow him on Twitter at Metric Scout. You can follow me at Marcus_Mosher. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Check out the channel on YouTube. Download the podcast wherever you get your podcast. We are free and available on all platforms, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.